guys, I'm Solidus-Skully and welcome to the final part of the Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko commentary. I was honestly lamenting on doing this the following day when I was a little bit more sober, but you know what? I'm drunk enough to think this is a good idea, so let's do the final part of Gex 3 completely inebriated. I've only had like 2 more beers since the last part, so I should be good. Anyway, this is Resbreaker. If you don't know your James Bond mythology, this is a parody of Moonraker. In very broad strokes, like, there's not really much in terms of Moonraker that they really parody. Well, besides one thing, really, like... And again, this is something that was more to do with, like, cut content, or I guess, maybe if you glitch the camera out a little bit, but... Again, if you, like, take the camera and examine, like, into the dome of, like, the Res space station that you're seeing right here, yeah, there was actually, like, an interior with, like, you know, grass, like an earthly... like, terrestrial sort of thing. Kind of like a biodome, really. Like, where there was actually, like, there was an actual interior with, like, enemies and all sorts of stuff in there. I don't know if there was, like, a more, like, complete version of the level planned, where you will, like, actually go inside and eventually make your way towards Res. I mean, either way, it's just kind of lamentable to see the fact that it was, like, cut from the final game, because it could have made this level a little bit more interesting than what we already have here. Like, I mean, we do get, like, a pretty cool, like, space set piece where we platform off a bunch of satellites, go into, like, the shield generators and shut them down. But, I mean, like, a part of that, like, you don't really do much in this level. And it does honestly make this one of the most disappointing final bosses in the Gex series. I wouldn't say final bosses period, because, well, I can say that I've played worse, but... excuse me, I'm so sorry, that's just the alcohol escaping my lungs with all its carbonated juices and shit. But again, this is basically what you're going to be doing from the outset, like, destroying 5 generators, climbing up, descending down another one, repeating the same process again and again and again. Again, like, I mean, the build-up is just nothing compared to what it was in Gex 2 Enter the Gecko. Like, I mean, because, I mean, in Enter the Gecko, like, while you might have had, like, more of a standstill sort of thing, you at least had Gex, no, sorry, not Gex, you at least had Res trash-talking you, and, like, the atmosphere and the music really sort of building up to the final confrontation as Res really just got under your skin. You wanted to kick his ass, but, like, he was intimidating. You had the initial confrontation, and then he finally fucking attacked you, and honestly, like, I mean, I cannot praise enough how absolutely excellent the final boss of Gex 3D Enter the Gecko is. It is just... nothing has topped that for me. Absolutely nothing. But, I mean, here on the other hand, like, if I can speak positive for a second, because... like a lot of things, I do prefer to speak positive about things rather than speaking negatively at the risk of hurting somebody's feelings, because, you know, they're people too. So you gotta respect them, even if sometimes there are some people out there that you do kind of want to punch in the face. But not you, viewer, presumably. Unless, of course, you're a dick, in which case, go fuck yourself. But again, I'm gonna run under the assumption that you're actually a pretty chillax dude or do that, so, like, you know what? You're sick, dude. Give me a hug. Well, virtually. If I could be there in the flesh, I'd totally do it, man, but, you know, the circumstances are what they are, so screw it. In any case, like, I mean, beyond just padding for time, there is just a lot to this boss fight that I think honestly could have been done better, and I guess might have been an example of, like, you know, something that I was actually mentioning during the part where I covered Fairy Tail TV, in the sense that I kind of get the impression that either Crystal Dynamics were running out of passion for the series, or running out of time, because there's a lot about this game that just feels kind of rushed. Like, to a certain extent. I wouldn't say totally, because, you know, this is still the PS1 era where you could get games relatively finished, and also balancing the budget between both, you know, gameplay, graphics, you know, and, you know, to the general projection of what a project should be. So, like, I mean, I don't totally know what exactly was the beef, really. But, I mean, this final confrontation just kind of feels very workmanlike. Like, I mean, it's functional, plays well enough, but, like, I mean, at the same time, you kind of get the impression of, yeah, here's a level, can I get my paycheck now? Here's a final boss, okay, bye. I don't know. I don't want to be that cynical about it, but maybe this was just more of a sign of where Crystal Dynamics' burnout was beginning to show, which is really disappointing, because, like, I mean, the setup was there. Like, you can see the Empire Strikes Back final boss fight, you know, Res having a slightly altered design from what he was in Enter the Gecko, kind of the one I preferred, honestly. Like, I mean, I kind of like the way his design looks here. But again, in terms of, like, basic mechanics, you know, you get the acid power up, you shoot it into his fuck me light, which he opens up for whatever reason. Has a bunch of, like, like, spinny attacks with melee, and, like, you go back and shoot it again. Very basic, kind of disappointing, and, like, I mean, what did you kind of prefer over, like, the like, very, like, hit or miss hitboxes from, like, Gex 3D into the Gecko when you drop the TVs on them. At the same time, it's a little bit too easy and lacks a lot of the intensity that, you know, the one from Gex into the Gecko had. I don't want to complain too much about it because, like, I mean, it's fine enough for what it is. But, like, I mean, for a final boss fight, you're kind of expecting something that really pushes you to the edge of your seat, and something that makes you, like, you know, legitimately tense and legitimately excited when you fucking beat it. And that's exactly what you want to feel for a final boss fight. Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko doesn't really do that, and that is... it's kind of depressing, to be honest. Also, something to point out for, like, my final handy-dandy tangent of this commentary is actually that I'm pretty sure Res, like, legit does the Darth Vader NO! Like, several years before, like, Darth Vader actually did in Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. Like, I mean, how fucking crazy is that? Like, people legit totally meme that to, like, Darth Vader, but, like, no, dude, Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko, well, Gex 3D into the Gecko, I should say, has that by, like, several bloody years, so, yeah. People are dumb and fucking stupid. Or stupid. However the fuck you want to pronounce it. If you're gonna batch on about pronunciation, we'll be here till the fucking cows come home. But I suppose, like, I mean... to have any closing remarks about this boss fight, I like the setup. You know, I like the sort of finality of the confrontation here with, like, the Empire Strikes Back sort of arena. I just wish that there was a little bit more that really sold the idea that this would truly be the final battle with Gex. Assuming that a Gex war doesn't happen at some point in the future. You know, like, I mean, you see him blow up, you see him dead and everything. I just wish the game saw that better, so on that note I'll let you watch the final cutscene and you can see my final nominations quite soon.
And then, after he showed me his entire collection of Star Trek bloopers, he asked me to marry him. Actually, he insisted.
That's my dad! Good thing I got you out of there when I did. Now back to you and me.
Are you there, sir?
Alfred, not now.
There seems to be an emergency, sir. The world needs your help.
Alfred, I can't hear you. The signal seems to be breaking up. As I was saying, Xtra, my love, it's tail time.
Come here, you silly gecko. Oh, Gex.
Yeah, well, that's gonna give me some very freaky, fetishy fucking dreams tonight. But anyway, dudes and dudettes, that was Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko and sweet crispy Jesus. Like, I mean, playing this game, there are a lot of faults to it. Like, I mean, I will say that, especially with doing this commentary, and something I kind of wish I pointed out in the review a little bit more thoroughly, to be perfectly honest, is that there is a little bit of level design that I think kind of, like, balances itself out really nicely, like, with the different pathways that let you do different things, and stuff that not only just streamlines Deep Cover Gecko's level design, but also makes it a very concise game to play with specific levels. There are some where it doesn't entirely show its, like, true prowess, like the Mythology Network as a major example, but also, like, you know, Fairy Tail TV and a bunch of other levels. But there are also some levels like, you know, the Anime Channel, Gangster TV, and a lot of the earlier levels like, you know, the Christmas level, the fucking Mystery TV, Tut TV. Again, a majority of the levels across the board do generally show Gex 3D into the Gecko's... Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko's strengths. So, I apologize for that, it's a force of habit. But anyway, like, in terms of what I like about Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko, levels, for the most part, besides Mythology Network and a few others, excellent. Music, absolutely fantastic, as you are hearing right now with the pre-console version of the Anime Channel, mixed in with a little bit of like a medley of a couple of other levels. Character voices, you know, Danny John Jules, again, I haven't mentioned it throughout this commentary, but he is fucking beautiful as Gex. Mark Silk as Alfred, you know, makes for a decent butler presence in the general sort of sense, you know, and again, while they do kind of reuse, like, voices from, like, you know, Robert Bruce, I think his name is, as Rez, fair enough. The nerdy voice they have for Wizard of Oz, who gives a shit? I don't know. The point is, I do genuinely love Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. In terms of how I would compare it to Enter the Gecko, I'm still gonna admit, it's half and half. Like, I mean, I couldn't legitimately pick a favourite because there's a lot that I do like about Enter the Gecko, but Deep Cover Gecko also has a lot of fantastic qualities about it that I just can't pick. Again, they both stand very tall above Gex 1, but you know what? Gex 1, I'm actually considering on doing a commentary on that at some point in the future, because there's a lot about that game that I do love as well, but again, it's not quite to the quality of Gex 2 and 3. But that's okay, because that was a first game, and, you know, first games need room for improvement, so I judge that on a bit of a different standard. But again, I'm just kind of getting ahead of myself. So, I suppose in terms of commentaries that I'm going to be doing next, well, next time I'm going to be doing something that's very nostalgic to my childhood. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I mean, it's one of my early reviews. It is actually one that I actually really like a lot from my early season, so you'll find out what it is come February. Or possibly already seen it, depending on where you are. Anyway, on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal. I hope you enjoyed the Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko commentary, and I will see you later. Bye-bye, dudes and dudettes.